Well, hello people, this is John with Ozarks Backroads with you today. We're in the shop again. Going to do another little quick project on this Versys 1000. We got the new hole shot handlebar on here, and that's all great and comfortable. So now I'm going to see if I can improve on a little airflow on this thing, and I've changed the windscreen. I put the Jeevy touring screen on it there, and it's the tallest one they made, and that's where I went wrong. Even it's in the lowest setting right now. You can see here it's slid all the way down, and I'm still looking through the top of the glass up here, like 2 inches down or 1.5 inches down is where my vision is at, and I'm not getting any air on me. It's too tall. When I had the stock seat on it originally with that screen, it wasn't too bad. I could just see over the top of the screen when it was in its lowest position, and I got a little bit of air. With this Corbin seat here, it drops you down a couple of inches, and that's put me looking through the glass. Even in the lowest position, I'm still not able to see over the top of this. So I'm gonna take this windscreen off, and I'm gonna trim it down a couple of inches, and we'll kind of go through that. We'll see if I destroy it and I have to buy another one, or if we can actually make this work. First thing we'll do here is just remove the hardware. I've got a couple of screws, and there's a screw behind this knob. You take this cover off right here, take that screw there out, and these 2 screws off, and we'll just get the screen off of the hardware there, and then we'll tape this thing all up, or we won't be getting it all scratched up. So I'll go ahead and get that off now, and then I'll get back with you. Got my windscreen off the bike. I got all the hardware removed off of it there, and got it laying out here. My next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to clean it real good, and then I'm going to cover both sides of it with blue painter's tape, the quick release blue that you use to tape up your windows and whatnot when you're painting your house. I'm going to cover the entire screen and trim it around the edge so that there's no chance of me scratching that up when I'm working with it. Well, I got my windscreen all taped up front and back with blue tape, so I don't do any damage to it. And what I did here is I measured down 2 inches from the top of the screen with the tape measure, and I just went along just every little bit 2 inches down and marked it all the way across the top, so I could just transfer the contour of the top down 2 inches, and then I did a little freehand right on the very end, kind of match them up. So that's where I'm going to cut at, and I think what I'll do, I'm going to start with the jigsaw here and see how it does. I'll probably do a test cut kind of up in here somewhere with it, and just kind of see if it's real ragged or how clean it'll cut. We'll have to sand this edge out to match the bevel and the smoothness, but you know, the cleaner I can make it to start with, the less work for me. So alright, we're going to try a little test cut here. So we may be kissing this $150 windscreen goodbye, but I want to see how this cuts before I start in on the actual cut. Oh, that's real nice. That makes a nice cut. I won't have to do a whole lot of sanding there. All right, here we go. Say a prayer for me. I'm probably going to need it. that's looking pretty good. All right, we got that cut off. It looks pretty good. I'm gonna take a longboard here with some 80 grit on it. This is just like for doing body work. I used to paint cars, so I've got a lot of this kind of stuff. It's just a long sanding board with some stick-on 80 grit. And I'm just gonna work this edge, round these off nice and round on the corners here and go across, make sure everything's straight and there's no whip-de-doos in this. So I'll start with this 80 grit. Just kind of work on this till it looks like it's the way I want it. It doesn't take much of that on this Lexan. It sands real quick. I got that nice and round already. This corner's a little sharper. I'll have to work on it some here. Got just a little bit of a lump right here on this edge. And most of this you just kind of gotta eyeball it and feel it. And I know it won't be perfect, but as long as it's close enough that I don't notice it when I'm riding, I'll be fine with it. I think we've probably got that. I like the shape of that. So now what I'm going to do is get some wet and dry and water sand this and kind of put a radius on this edge to match the radius that's on the rest of the edge on the rest of the bike. On the rest of this Lexan here, they've kind of got a radius where they've sanded it over. So I'm going to try to imitate that with some wet and dry, probably some 400 or 320. Actually 220 would be fine if I had some. Kind of put a radius on that edge and it'll also clear up that cut. With the finer paper, this edge will kind of start to turn clear. That's kind of the way it is on the rest of it. I worked on that edge with the longboard and the 80 grit and kind of got the shape I want. Nice and smooth all the way across. So now I've went ahead and I've peeled back. I don't know if you can see this or not. I've peeled back the tape just a little bit to expose just a little bit of the edge there, maybe a 1/4 inch or so, and retaped it back. And I'm going to work on this edge with my wet and dry sandpaper. I'm going to wet it down and I'm just going to roll that edge over, just work on the edge on the outside and the inside edge both a little bit, kind of round it over, and probably go to some 400 when I get the shape I want, and smooth the edge out and try to match it to the edge on the rest of the way around there, the way the factory did it. So I'm just using some regular old wet and dry sandpaper here and kind of a hard rubber pad. I'll wrap around that and work this edge a little bit. Try to make it look like nothing's been done to it. I'm just going to wrap my paper around this hard rubber pad here, this little block. Wet it down in my bucket like that. And I'm just going to start working this edge. Start trying to round it over just a little bit on the edge, knock that sharp edge off of it. I don't think it'll take a whole lot to do this. Yeah, that's going to do real good. That's not going to take too long. I'll work on this other half and then we'll turn it over and do the back side the same way. Main thing is I don't want to get flat on it and scratch the surface. I'm just working on the very edge here. And it's pretty easy to not do that. It's, with this hard pad, it's not going to get away from me or anything. I'll work on the other half here in just a few minutes, and then we'll flip it over and work on the other side for a while. I've gone around all this and rounded that all down, front and back, and it's looking real good. It looks real similar to the original edge already. But now I'm going to go from my 220 to some 400 wet and dry, and just do the same thing. Just sand it out a little finer and clean that up just a little more there where the 220 finish was left on it. And I think we're going to have it. Looks like it's going to work really good. I don't think it's going to take too much of this and it'll be ready to go. Yeah, that looks same as the original. I can't tell any difference. Get the other half here, and then we'll peel all the tape off, clean it all up, mount it up, and put the hardware back on it and mount it up, and then we'll take a real close look at this edge all with the camera. I think it's going to be okie dokie. Well, we finally got all the tape off of that. That was the hardest part of the whole job, was just getting all the tape off the glass and then getting the sticky off of it. So I finally got that done, but got it mounted back up, and I'm pretty pleased with it. I can see over the top of it now. It's in the lowest position, and I believe riding, I'll be looking right over the top of it. The edges turned out pretty nice on the piece. I'm pretty happy with them. I don't know how close we can get with this camera, but they sanded out and look pretty similar to the original edge down here. I can't tell much difference. So I'm pretty happy with that. We'll take it for a test ride. Hot as the weather's been, it shouldn't be hard to test it out. We'll put it in the low position, take it for a ride, and see if we get any air in our helmet now. That'll be the big test. So that's a cut down GV tall touring screen. It's probably about the size of the regular touring screen, I'm guessing. I took 2 inches off of it, so we'll take her for a test ride and get back with you and see what we think about this. Got this windshield cut down on this Versys. Shortened it a couple of inches, and I'm able to get air in my helmet now. When it's all the way down, I can just see over the top of it. I am getting some air in the intake on the top of my helmet here above my eyes. And the wind blast hits me right at the top of the visor when I'm going down the highway. So that's an improvement. I'm getting a little air in my helmet now. So that'll help out. I'm pretty happy with that. So I appreciate you sticking with me and watching something as interesting as cutting down a windshield. But if you ever need to cut your windshield down, now you know how to do it. I took all the risk for you. Come back and see me. We'll tear something up or change something or do something. Take care.